day's a day, a bad luck's always a coming my way.
For some reason, one of the hardest questions to ask someone is what is their favorite movie? Now it can change depending on your mood, where you are in life, or if a new movie comes out and it catches your fancy, well guess what? That's your new favorite movie. Some people even have multiple favorite movies. But have you ever heard of the term one shot? Now, everybody has those memories when they watch movies growing up, those emotional moments, but there's that one shot that you see that kind of catches you off guard.
Where did you get the confidence from to make a film with such...
Ignorance, sheer ignorance, you know, there's no confidence to equal it. I thought you could do anything with a camera that the eye could do or the imagination could do. And I didn't know that there were things you couldn't do. So anything I could think up in my dreams, I attempted to photograph.
Something it feels perfect, that one shot. Well, for me, I have a ton of one shots. One of them in particular is from a movie that came out in 1919, a movie called Daddy Longlegs. It was a silent film starring silent film actress Mary Pickford. If you've never heard of the movie Daddy Longlegs, basically Mary Pickford plays an orphan named Jerusha Abbott. It's a name that was given to her by the headmistress of the orphanage here. Abbott is from a phone book, and Jerusha is taken from a tombstone. She later changes her name to Judy, but this building right here that you're looking at, this was the orphanage in the 1919 silent movie, Daddy Longlegs. This movie came out 103 years ago, and a lot has definitely changed, a lot of renovations. They took off a floor, they took off the roof, they made certain walls flush, took out certain entrances, but there's enough here to line up the shots that we need. But before we do that, I want to take a quick walk through the main hallway here and tell you a little bit more about the movie. Because this building is massive. I mean, look at this hallway. It's now apartment buildings, but back in the day, in the early 1900s, it was part of the college. And then it became abandoned, and that's whenever they filmed Daddy Longlegs here. Charlie Chaplin even filmed parts of The Kid here, but Mary Pickford was the first. I know this isn't exactly horror, but it still is old Hollywood history that's still standing. Surprisingly, it's still standing. A lot of times, things get torn down or completely renovated. It's amazing that this building is still here. Look how wide these staircases are. Now, like I said, Jerusha Abbott changes her name to Judy, and she becomes the oldest, most talented person in the entire orphanage. It catches the eye, catches the fancy of a very wealthy businessman who pays for her college, as well as sets her up basically financially for the rest of her life. The only catch is, she's to never know the identity of her benefactor. And that's how we get the name Daddy Longlegs, because she sees a shadow, these elongated legs, a shadow of the legs against the wall. Yes, I realize that it is a full-length feature silent film, and most of you are probably not going to watch it, but it is on YouTube and it is free, so I highly recommend giving it a watch. At least try to. But for now, let's go ahead and line up the shots. As we walk around the building making sense of history, I mean, come on, 103 years old. Just keep in mind that surrounding the building, you're going to see these little bungalow apartments. These weren't here. Instead, it was like an open field all the way around it, which to me is pretty wild that they built those, and then they also keep this. Heck, even just walking around it, it's protected. Like, I had to ask somebody who lives here, a tenant, kindly, if they can let me in so I can film this, because other than that, there's no way I would have been able to get in. Now, while we're doing this, you have to remember that a lot has definitely changed. Renovations have happened. I mean, come on, it's been 103 years. But from this angle right here, you can see Mary lining up the orphans in front of the building. Now, you see the portion of the wall with the windows in front of that white truck? That wasn't there. Instead, it used to protrude out a little bit, a couple feet. That was removed and made flush, and you can actually see the change in the brick just to the right of the drain pipe. I mean, I guess it goes without saying, but I might as well point it out. This little ramp going down to a little storage area, a little maintenance area, wasn't here as well. In fact, it's probably just past into that little gray part of the cement where the kids were lining up. The scene where Mary was lining up the orphans was filmed down there on that end of the building, just before the palm trees. But if I turn the camera back this way, there's another scene that was filmed over here where Mary is running along a wall. And just standing here, looking at it, right there is where the wall would have been, stretching out to where I'm standing. It had to have been a prop wall. It just had to have been, because there's nothing there. Now this one's going to be a little hard to line up, but we can do it. You see those three windows right there, as well as that little window down there in the foundation? You can see that in this scene as Mary chases an orphan down towards where I'm standing. Now right about there was a porch, another entrance that came out, but they removed it somewhere around 1950. Right here where those two windows are is where that porch, the entrance, used to be. And you can see the change in the brick, as well as the archway just above that little grate there if you look very closely. Crazy, right? And look at that. Right there on the wall is a handprint of a little kid. Nothing to do with the orphanage or the movie Daddy Longlegs, but still, the fact that it's there, it's kind of eerie. Now this one's going to be a little harder to make out because a lot has changed with the landscaping. But right over here at the corner of this building, there's a scene where Mary's standing right over here with one of the orphans. Now you can see one of those windows in the foundation just over the hedge. And then if you look over to the right, you can see the steps, the little steps that go to the front entrance there in this scene as well. Now here's another shot of the side of the building where the porch once was. There's a shot of one of the orphans, Wesley, running along this wall up to the porch. Man, I wish it was still here. Now to me, probably one of the coolest shots to line up is where Mary leads the orphan Wesley back inside the building. And you can see the metal spiked grates above the doorway. I think that's cool. Now, as I walk up this driveway, I want you to picture this. These houses, this cement driveway that I'm walking on, the fence, none of this was here back whenever they made the movies. Now, yes, this video is all about the 1919 silent film, Daddy Longlegs, but like I said, Charlie Chaplin did film here as well. There's a scene from The Kid that was filmed right at this entrance. And it's almost impossible to get the same exact shot. But once I get a little bit closer to right about here, maybe a little bit closer, I'm not entirely sure. Again, a lot has changed. But take a look at this from Charlie Chaplin's The Kid. While I was filming, one of the tenants came out and asked me what I was doing. They had no idea about the movies that were filmed here, and I asked if there was any sort of historical plaque on property, and they said yes. At one point there was, but the owners of the building took it down. It said that at one point it used to be a hospital, and at one point it used to be part of the college. Why would you take something down like that? I don't know. History, it's history, especially here in Hollywood. If the building is still standing, leave the plaque. That's my rule. Well, once again, we find ourselves in Malibu Creek State Park. The last time we were here, we were doing the filming locations to Don Coscarelli's Bubba Hotep. Earlier in this video, we talked about something that's known as the one shot, that one scene, that one shot in a movie that sticks out to you more than anything. Well, this park is the location of my one shot, my favorite scene from that 1919 silent movie, Daddy Longlegs. Now, not only was it a scene in the movie, but it also turned out to be the movie poster as well as a publicity photo. Well, about a mile down this road is where they shot it, in the rock pool here in Malibu Creek State Park. I know, 103 years, a lot has definitely changed. I'm gonna try to find the exact location where that scene happened and where that photograph was taken. The last time we came here to film, it was for whenever we were doing the filming locations to Don Coscarelli's Bubba Hotep. We actually came here for this bridge. Well, actually what's underneath the bridge. Now, as we get closer, about the center of your screen there, you can see that white bare tree. In the movie Bubba Hotep, Bruce Campbell, who plays an aged Elvis Presley, now in a retirement home. Comes down that embankment with his walker, and he makes a little bit of a discovery that's a bit of a revelation in the movie right there in the water. But as cool and as spooky as that is, and trust me, if you haven't seen Bubba Hotep, you need to. What we've come here for is actually on the other side of the bridge. Now, if we were to follow this creek right up between those two mountains there, that canyon, that's where you would find the rock pool. And I can already hear the water from right here. It's beautiful. Man, is this beautiful. This really does feel like we're walking through a distant world or another planet. And look at the rocks. Now, last time we were here, there was actually people rock climbing and doing some rappelling from a cliff over here. Don't think they're there today, but I can at least show you the rock face. That mountain right up there. I don't think I could do something like that. I really don't. You can literally just spend the entire day here and explore, just kind of walk the trails. There's trails everywhere. These rocks though, I have no idea what causes these, but I freaking love it. Oh, so cool. Just a couple more rocks to walk over. Now, Jessica stayed home because we thought that there was a possibility that this might be a little too much for her. But quite honestly, I think she can make this hike. It's pretty flat for the most part. Looks like the pathway over to the rock pool is right over here. Well, after a little bit of exercising, I made it to the rock pool where they filmed Daddy Longlegs back in 1919. And I'm gonna line up shots. I'm gonna try to recreate the photo because I'm staring at the rock right now. But surprisingly, a lot really hasn't changed in 103 years. I mean, look at this. Look how peaceful this looks. Now, on hot days, you can expect people out here in the rock pool cooling off and relaxing. But this is something else. I'm pretty much standing in the exact spot where the cameraman was. That rock that's right in the center of the screen. Now, erosion happens, but pretty much right here is the angle that they would have taken that photo from. In fact, if you look just on the other side of the pool here, you can make out the markings in the rock. That's pretty wild. The shot that they actually used for the movie was taken from this angle right here. Now, again, the rock that they were sitting on is right there in the bottom right-hand corner, but you see those three boulders out in the middle of the water? They kind of look like beach balls just floating there. You can see those in the background, and again, you can even line up the markings and the holes in the rocks. We get a close-up of Mary sitting on the rock looking off to the left, and behind her you can see where those two rocks meet right there in the distance. It's a really tight shot. This is what it looks like, at least with our cameras. It's crazy how technology and cameras change and how they evolve over the years. You guys hear the birds? With that being said, thank you for joining us on another Grimm adventure, this time going back in time 103 years to 1919 to the classic silent movie, Daddy Longlegs. And as always, happy Halloween.
Wherever I come, bad luck just comes my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is Daddy's day. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always